Please join me in warmly welcoming Miss Anu Oluwaboshola. Miss Anu Oluwaboshola, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Gift.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you once again for joining this month's edition. I am Sanitarian Anuluapo Alice Shuola, an Environmental Health Officer. Thank you, EcoFuture, for this opportunity. God bless you. So tonight we'll be discussing this month's theme titled "The Flood Starts Before the Rain." Please, can you mute your mic? I know. Sorry, thank you. So the flood starts before the rain. I love this topic so much because it resonates with our environment and what it addresses one of the major challenges we face in Nigeria. So our focus tonight is on how our daily actions shape flood risk. So we explore what flood means, the factors that contribute to it, the health effects, and most importantly, practical steps individuals, communities, and governments can take to reduce flood risks. So before we continue, guys, so I know most of us might have been hearing the word flood. So my little question is that, so when we hear the word flood, what comes to our mind? This open question, anybody can answer it. So the word flood.
Okay, let me answer it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, when we talk about flood, it means whereby there is a particular, let me say, there's occupation of water or occupying of water in a particular area based on heavy downpour, and it can be caused by different things. Maybe if the drainage system is not properly built, and other aspects that can lead to it.
Okay. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. I know. Sorry, did I get it correctly?
Anyanwu.
I know. Sorry.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you so much. Do we
You're
have any
welcome,
other person that
Sanitarian.
wants to contribute? Is there any other person that want to contribute? When we hear the word flood, so what comes to our mind?
Okay, can everyone hear me? Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, ma'am.
All right. So when I hear the word flood, what comes to my mind is
Yes, ma'am.
an area that is filled up with water and making people, especially the part that filled up with water in residential areas, and make it like restrict movement. Yes, make it possible for people to move around and do things. So whenever I hear the word flood, like flooding is happening in this place, that's what comes to my mind.
Thank you very much, love it. Thank you for your contribution. So let's move to slide 2. What is a flood? No, go back, please. Sorry. Yes, what is a flood? Flood is an overflow of water onto land that is normally dry. So, in simple terms, it is too much of water in the wrong place at the wrong time. So, it is not possible for anybody to say, oh, there is flood water in this premises and it's at the right place or at the right time. So, it is not possible. It is always at the wrong place and at the wrong time. And we say it can damage homes. We have a lot of families that lose their homes, furnitures, electrical appliances, personal belongings to flood. Another one, it affects businesses. So during flood or after flood, we see shop close down, markets are disrupted, and this make people to lose their daily income. So this creates economic loss. So the next one is it destroy roads. Constant flooding causes roads to wear out faster, leading to potholes, road damage, and costly repairs. So the next one is it spread diseases and threaten lives. So these two, we'll talk more on them in other slides. So now that we understand what flood means, let's move to the next slide, please. Thank you very much. So this slide, we are going to be talking about the factors that contribute to flooding. And then we have natural and human factor. So for the natural factor, number one is heavy rainfall. So when more rain falls than the ground can absorb or the drainage system can actually carry away. This leads to overflowing of water everywhere. So the next one is rising river level in riverine areas or where streams overflow. So where they receive much water than they can safely carry. This usually happen maybe after heavy rainfall or maybe when dams flow into them. It increases their water level beyond the capacity of their bank, and this spills to nearby community. So community close to any riverine area, they are what? They are usually flooded with water. So the next one for the natural factor is coastal storm. So this happens in coastal areas. So when we say coastal areas, they are regions that are located along the edge of the sea or ocean. So where land meets with coastline. So in coastal areas, strong storm and high tides dey push large amount of seawater inland. So this makes community that are close to them vulnerable to flood. So the next one for the natural factor is low-lying topography. So when we say low-lying topography, this means the land sits at, near or below sea level. So this natural landscape, it plays a major role. We have some places within Nigeria that are naturally low-lying or close to sea level, so making it difficult for water to drain away. We are going to make use of Lagos as a perfect example because there are many parts of Lagos that are low-lying and they are surrounded by Atlantic oceans, lagoons and creeks. So when we say creek is a small natural stream of flowing water. So all these natural factors, they contribute to flooding. So let's look at the human factor. The first one on the list is dumping of refuse into drains. So one of the most common causes of urban flooding is indiscriminate waste disposal. When we dump our waste into gutters or canals, they do what? They block the drain. When they are accumulated, they block the drain. And when it rains, the rain has nowhere to go because the channel through which the rainwater is supposed to pass through has been blocked with our waste. So it blocked the drain, leading to what? Flooding. So the next one is blocked drainage channels. So even when there are drains available in some streets, in some areas, they may be blocked by what? Maybe due to poor main ten ance. You get to some areas, you be like, don't you people have drainage system in this environment? They tell you, they have before. Why? Because there is poor main ten ance, they don't clean it. So a drainage is only effective when it is regularly cleaned and kept free of obstruction. So the third one is poor urban planning. We have flood become more frequent when communities develop without proper planning, without adequate drainage system or even considering the natural flow of water. You see some estates, everybody want to use their land. You want to finish your land, I'm going to fence everywhere without considering, let us think about our drainage system. Please let us do this. They don't do it. A lot of estates, you get to their places like this, you'll be like, where is your drainage system? Why is this thing so small like this? And there are some people that also what they build on natural waterways, ways that it is meant for natural water, flood water to pass through. That is where some people erect their buildings, and this obstructs water, leading to what? Flooding. So the next one is deforestation. So trees and vegetables, they help to absorb rainwater and reduce surface runoff. So when we cut down trees, it removes the natural barrier that's supposed to slow down water flow, and it leads to what? Increase to runoff and soil erosion. So the next one is dams and levee failure. Dams and levee, they are built to control water, but when they fail, maybe because of structural integrity, poor main ten ance or extreme weather conditions, large volume of water can be released suddenly, and this leads to what? Flooding. So the last one on the list for human factor is climate change leading to heavier rainfall. Climate change refers to long-term changes in the earth's temperature and weather pattern. So today the main driver of climate change is human activities, especially burning of fossil fuel such as coal, petrol, diesel and natural gas in vehicles, factories, power plants and generators. All these activities dey release large amount of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. You see, all these action dey release heat trapping gases into the atmosphere, creating a greenhouse effect that warms the planet. And we call carbon dioxide is actually a greenhouse gas. So it traps heat in the atmosphere and it disrupts natural weather pattern, transforming normal seasonal rain into catastrophic events. So it changes rainfall and it affects farming and food prices. It also increases spread of diseases. We have trees. When we plant trees, trees help us to absorb the carbon dioxide that are present in the atmosphere. So when we now cut down forest, so we are saying that there are fewer trees available to remove the carbon dioxide that is present in the atmosphere. All this also leads to what? Climate change. So let's move to the next slide. From all these factors, one thing is clear: many flood can actually be what? Be preventable. The rain may trigger the flood, but actions often create conditions for it. So this slide 4, it summarizes the entire message for today's presentation. The flood really starts before the rain. So it starts from poor waste disposal. When E start from poor waste disposal. When the public, when you, me or everybody dump our waste indiscriminately into the environment, that sachet of pure water, that plastic bottle, that biscuit nylon that you eat finish and throw away into your environment, where do you think is going to? So all these things we have to be conscious of it. So e start from poor waste disposal and it leads to what? It leads to blocked drain. You see, dis waste dey accumulate into the drainage channel until it what? It becomes blocked. And when rain falls, the rain is not actually the enemy. So it falls on its own. So because there is no way for the rainwater to flow through, because the drain has already been what? Has already been blocked. That is when we see water overflowing to roads, to different homes, to different workplaces. Flooding occurs. So the result is actually flooding. The rain only exposes the environmental problem that has already existed. The rain did not block the drain. We did. So this takes us to slide 5. The next slide, please. Thank you. So what happens when flooding occurs? We are going to look at the earth effects. We say flood water is a mixture of biological, chemical and physical hazards that can trigger diseases, injuries and even death. So it is not just the dirty water that we see with our eyes. A lot is mixed with it. So we're going to look at this hazard one after the other. We have biological hazard, we have chemical hazard, we have physical hazard. So for the biological hazard, one of the most immediate public health consequences of flooding is the increase in communicable diseases, because flood water is often contaminated with human feces or animal feces or animal urine. You can imagine there are some premises that their septic tank is already filled up. Some they are already overfilled and already discharging. So if that kind of premises now experience what we call flooding, that is their feces has already mixed with the wastewater. There are some from the canals. A lot of people still practice open defecations in canals and gutters. So exposing the general public to disease causing organisms that we know as bacteria, viruses, parasites and fungi. So when this contaminated water mixes with our drinking water, mixes with our food, household items or come in contact with our skin, maybe you have open wound or little cut, or it come in contact with our eyes, with our nose or mouth, it increases the risk of diseases such as cholera, typhoid fever diarrhea diseases, skin infection, and other gastrointestinal infections. So in addition, stagnant water is left behind after flooding because it creates ideal breeding sites for mosquito, leading to rise in mosquito and other mosquito-borne diseases. So this is why ensuring safe water, proper sanitation, good hygiene and vector control is a critical point of flood response. So the second one is chemical hazards. Flood water may also contain fuel or oil spill, pesticides, fertilizers, industrial chemicals or heavy metals. So exposure to all these substances can also result to flooding, skin and eye irritation, respiratory disorders and long-term health effect. After long exposures to all these chemicals, it leads to like cancer or kidney damage. So the third one is physical hazards. Flood water actually expose people to drowning. Fast moving water, I know a lot of us have seen fast moving water that actually swept away vehicles and people. So we can actually have cuts and wound from hidden sharp objects that is inside the flood water, collapsing of buildings, snake and other animal bites. So we have others which include respiratory diseases. So after flooding, a lot of houses that has already been flooded with water, so their house remain damp for weeks, creating ideal condition for mold growth. And we know mold, it releases spores into the air which can actually trigger asthma, allergic reaction and other respiratory diseases. So that is for respiratory diseases that are associated with effect of flooding. So the next one is mental or psychosocial effect. So the impact of flooding extend beyond physical health. Losing homes, losing livelihood or loved one can actually cause significant psychological distress. We have a lot of survivors that experience stress, anxiety, depression, grief, trauma. In most severe cases, there are some that even lead to post-traumatic stress disorder that we call PTSD. So this highlights the importance of integrating mental health and psychosocial support into flood preparedness and recovery effects. So the last one is displacement and social consequences. So flooding often forces people to leave their home and livelihood. A place where is already flooded with water that you cannot even stay there, you have to leave that kind of premises. So and many people, they end up in temporary shelter because most people don't even have where to go. So they go to places that are very overcrowded, and this also leads to what? Spread of communicable diseases. And at the same time, access to portable water, healthcare, sanitation, education and other essential services may be disrupted, while prolonged displacement can lead to food insecurity and malnutrition. See, all dis social impact can persist for so long even after flood has receded. So dis take us to slide 6, where we talk about what can we do. What can we do? So the practical steps individuals, communities and government can take to reduce flood risks as individuals, as communities and as government. So let's take individuals. One, dispose waste properly. So we need to learn to dispose our waste properly using government approved waste collectors. So we give our waste to the people that government has given to us, that okay, let them come and carry our waste. So those are the people we give our waste to, not just that we just go and dump our waste on the road, because it will what? If it is not affecting us, it is affecting another person. We understand. So the second one is we should keep our drain clean. The drain in front of our house, we should make sure that it is free of obstruction. The next one is plant trees. Trees help to absorb runoff water. Trees help to remove to absorb carbon dioxide that are present in the air that can lead to climate change. So that is why we need to plant much trees in our environment. The next one is protect wetlands. A lot of people actually build house on wetlands, and if we build house on wetland, it will not be able to absorb excess water. This also increases flooding. There are some people that they prefer to landfill wetland. They prefer to be pouring dirt there so that with time they can come and build house there. No, we should not do that. And we should also avoid building on waterways. We should avoid building on natural waterway where water will naturally pass through. We should not build there. So as communities, what can we do? We should organize community sanitation exercise. So in Lagos, they do Thursday market sanitation, and every last Saturday, like tomorrow now, there's going to be general sanitation for everybody to participate. So we should not wait till then. We can actually organize a community sanitation maybe every week in our environment. Report any blocked drain. Okay, when you see, oh, this street, oh, their drainage system has already been blocked, we should report to appropriate authorities. Who are the people that you report to? If you cannot report to the CDA chairman of your community, you report to the environmental health services of your local government. Then number three, we need to create more environmental awareness. Like what we are doing right now, we are creating more environmental awareness. And I want us to create more environmental awareness on all our social media platforms. Then for the government, number one, they need to construct and maintain drainage infrastructures. So they need to construct and make sure that it is being maintained. It's not that they construct and leave it alone. So the next one is effective waste management. So waste management must be effective to reduce indiscriminate disposal of waste within the environment. And the next one, prevent illegal constructions on waterways. They need to prevent it. So number four, enforce environmental laws on them. The last one, improve waste management services. Our government need to improve our waste management services to help us, to help the people. Then this take us to slide 7. Yes, thank you. That's conclusion. The flood starts before the rain through the choices we make about our environment. So please, let's know the choices we make about our environment, that, oh, the flood starts before the rain. Oh, it might affect one person. Even if not affecting, it will surely affect another person, which might lead to loss of life and property. So we need to understand that the flood actually starts before the rain through the choices we make, and I hope we make the right choices and help to create more awareness about it. Thank you, everyone. Miss Gift, over to you. Thank you. We have questions. Yeah. Thank you.